Hey everybody, welcome back. My name's Stephanie and I am celebrating my 1 year anniversary of having VSG surgery. So if you'd like to hear how my year went, kind of a summary of what I've learned, what I've regretted, what I plan to do moving forward, then this is the video for you and I hope that you will keep watching. Let's go. Okay, everybody, so it's been 1 year and I've learned a lot, but let's get to the good, juicy details. Let's get to the stats. So I had my surgery on September 7th, 2021 here in the States with Dr. David Brown, who is a surgeon at Idaho BMI. He has a fantastic podcast called Brain Over Belly. If you want to learn more about bariatric surgery, the cutting edge research, everything that I have learned that has really made a difference in the decisions that I've made and some of the things that I've had to retrain my brain to learn and believe, especially with food, especially with restriction. You gotta go listen to that podcast. And on that, because I do have ADD and I can tend to spiral and go off topic, there has been a movement, which I think is pretty understandable and good, that we'll just call it diet culture. And it's kind of refreshing if you've been somebody who's tried to lose weight your whole life and then you start hearing these messages like don't over restrict, or restriction is bad, or never cut out your favorite foods, or try to get to an intuitive eating spot. That is really great advice for probably an average sized person who might need to lose a little bit of weight. But when you are pushing 300 pounds on a 5'3" frame, that advice I think is actually really, really toxic. I'm not gonna get to my goal weight by changing a few things and starting to change my portion sizes and maybe going for a walk every day, all right? That's just not how I got there, because I didn't get there by overeating a little bit. I got there from my DNA, from choices, from stress, from lack of sleep. There's a lot of reasons that I got to be as heavy as I did. So what I've kind of seen is that people maybe who haven't had bariatric surgery are still trying to lose weight without surgery as the tool. And I probably fell into this as well. And maybe some people who have had surgery, sorry, there's flies around here, kind of fall into this belief that, I didn't have surgery so that I could just be on a diet the rest of my life. Or I didn't have surgery so that I wouldn't ever be able to enjoy my favorite foods again. And gosh, that is a hard mindset to reconcile within yourself. So I'm not here to tell anybody what I think you should do or how I think you should do it. But for me, so there's this fly, I've really taken to heart what my surgeon has said. And yes, I have spent lots of therapy sessions on this very thing. And I would even say that even my therapist, who is an expert in eating disorders, probably falls even a little bit more on the moderate side than where I fall. And that's totally fine. If she was living in my body, maybe she would understand where I'm coming from. So I think that there's kind of this belief that if you want to change your body, that there's something wrong with that. Or if you restrict your calories and only eat 400 calories a day, that you are setting yourself up for failure and setting yourself up for binge eating and over restriction. You know what? I think that there's probably some truth, and with all things, there's probably some truth over here and truth over here, and you got to find where you can land for the rest of your life. And trust me, I've learned the hard way through trial and error that for me and my body type, I had to start to tighten the reins on what I was eating if I was gonna continue to lose weight. And you guys have seen me struggle on here. There was a time where I'm like, it's just easier for me to eat, kind of more all things in moderation. I want to be able to enjoy foods. I want to be able to enjoy events. And you know what? There was a time right after my surgery when I could do that and still lose weight. weight. Then I got to the point where those little handfuls of goldfish crackers, that little bit of popcorn, maybe eating whatever I wanted if I went out to dinner or something, you know, because the restriction is still there. But eating those carbs and eating those other foods became the barrier between me losing more weight and staying the same. And I decided I didn't want to stay the same, and I still have 20 pounds to lose. So I have to really shut out those voices that are like, well, you know, fruit is natural. God made fruit. Yeah. But what fruit does to me and my brain and the fructose, and what dehydration and fructose do to your brain and puts you into like a hibernation mode like a bear. Okay, like go listen to the podcast. That's not good for me in weight loss. Would there be appropriate times? Absolutely. Would there be appropriate times? Yes. But for the day-to-day, if I want to continue losing weight, I really have to shut out those voices of moderation in all things and don't over restrict. I know that is not a popular message. And you know, you just hear stuff. If you've been on the internet, I hope you kind of know what I mean when I say there's messages, you know, diet culture, don't buy into diet culture, you know, love yourself. You know, I do love myself, but guess what? I don't want to be this big. And guess what? Obesity for me is going to be more than just making a few changes and going for a few walks and then finding a lot of success. Okay, I just had to pause and take a little bit of my protein shake. I think that every bariatric patient should save up and buy themselves a Ninja Creamy, because then you can make things with this. This is just a half of a Fairlife protein shake, frozen solid, and then mixed with a little bit of whole milk and a tablespoon of peanut butter. Awesome. Just needed a little bit of that before it melted all the way. So that was a long process. That did not happen overnight. So you guys probably saw me 2 months, 6 weeks ago when I was making my videos like, I've got 60 days. I'm going to do all these things, because I had some habits that were starting to come back that were getting in my way. And I really wanted to buckle down and say, okay, what is the difference between me losing and not losing? Because I kind of hit a little bit of a wall where I was just not losing very much. That is really discouraging when you've had surgery. And guess what? The surgery doesn't just fix your mind. It fixes a lot of things in your mind right away, just neurologically what happens, but you still got to do the work. And after a heart-to-heart with my surgeon, I decided, and I had actually decided this at some point in the summer, that I was going to repeat my surgery prep, the 2 weeks of liquids. Why? Because that was such an incredibly powerful, life-changing experience to realize how long I could go without food, what I could still do without food, how often I was reaching for food to cope. And I said, you know what, every year on my anniversary, I'm going to do the 2-week liquid diet. And I started it. And after about a week, that was about all I needed. I was like, okay, I need a little bit more than just the 2 shakes to get through being a mom. Because I had the luxury of my 2-week pre-op that I had a lot of help from my husband. But I mean, he's in school and he's working full time. So a lot more responsibilities rested on my shoulders. Doing a 2-week liquid diet after you've had surgery is way easier than before. And I just kept telling myself, I've done hard things. I've had to feel those difficult feelings. In the midst of all of this, I was doing intense trauma therapy called internal family systems, which after those sessions, it was like, I just need to rest for the whole day. And things are coming up and I'm facing all of my demons that I still need to face. But taking that time to just sort of like reset, have nothing but 2 protein shakes a day, a ton of water, that's powerful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because it flipped a switch in my mind, and it didn't take very long. In fact, it only took a few days. And then it was, adding just a little bit of cheese. And then I started to add my soft foods back in, cottage cheese and eggs. And then after a while, I was kind of used to that. I started to add a little bit of meat, maybe a salad in. And now I'm back to, a protein shake with some fat in it. And then I'll have dinner, a pork chop, a steak, a salmon, a chicken, some vegetables from my garden. Boom, easy, great. Whereas before, I was doing the fasting really, really, really well, having a great, clean first meal, and then it just started to kind of go downhill. And then it started to kind of become a little bit of a habit of looking for a sweet treat or, you know, snacking on carby things. That was getting in the way of me being successful. So I am back to more restriction, focusing more on what I'm eating, making sure I'm only eating when I'm hungry, making sure that I'm fasting most of the time. Am I 100% with this? No, I am never 100% with anything other than I was 100% on the 2-week liquid diet, and for like the first few months after surgery, 100%, didn't cheat. But I'm in a different stage, but I'm still needing to lose weight. So I still kind of have to go back to that work mode, that mode of how bad do I want this and what am I gonna have to do it? And guess what? The scale moved. I lost 4 pounds this month. I lost 4 pounds this month. So that's awesome. So I've got 20 more pounds to get to my goal. I am loving how I'm looking. I'm loving the progress that I've made. I'm sitting here in my kitchen, which is my favorite place to be in my house. And I will put some photos in here, but I am so happy with how far I have come. So this year has been incredible. From the day I started my liquid diet until now, I'm down 107 pounds. 107 pounds. And you know what? I've got all of the loose skin to prove it. But you know what? There's still some fat in there. I'm not down to just loose skin. Like, I still have some weight to lose. So moving forward in the future, staying on that clean, calorie restricted diet that's mainly the proteins, fats, and vegetables that grow above the ground, that works for me. Fasting, that works for me. That's a really powerful tool for me as well. And I'd like to start incorporating some strength training. Now, my surgeon on his podcast, yes, I will be referencing him, says exercise is really, really great for a lot of things, but it's not great for burning calories. It's great for a lot of things. So when I start doing the strength training, it will be for other things, not to burn calories and improve my weight loss. I want to change my physique and I want to change my shape. And that just doesn't happen if you're not doing some form of exercise, strength training. There's great benefits to cardio. There's great benefits to resistance training. And I plan to do the resistance training. I have a kid who's sick, staying home from school, and he is calling my name. So I think I've pretty much said what I need to say right now before this video gets too long. I've put off making videos for about a month because I was in my 2 weeks and I was still kind of recovering from tanking. My mental health still has taken some big drops this summer, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't handle kids, school, going back to 2 weeks of liquids, just the trauma therapy, all of that. And so I just didn't make videos for a little while, but luckily the sun continues to shine and I continue to feel better. So I'm going to wrap it up. I might have to make a part 2 of this, but motherhood is calling. And so I'm going to go tend to my little one and see you guys in my next video. Love you. Bye.